interesting project right after the fellowship, something that I'm personally really excited about, and so I won't take away anything from it. Over to you.
So while the movie has been set with poetry and some artistic expression, I'm just going to try to sneak in my elevator pitch.
It's difficult to follow after that.
I'm slightly dazed. So, Pajam Foundation is the name of the organization we started. This was 7 months back. And how it all started was basically a pilot workshop we did around a year back. So after my first year of fellowship, my kids were at a decent level with arithmetic and literacy. And I was thinking about getting them exposed to computers. Most of them had never interacted properly with computers. And I had this idea of setting up a computer lab. And I got thinking about, even if I do set up a computer lab, what is the space going to be about? So I kept thinking about that a little bit and slightly deviating from what happened. This is what mostly ICT and computer education is currently. MS Word, PowerPoint, spreadsheets, e-learning, tablets, and I really feel it should go beyond that. There's so much potential that computers or computational thinking have to offer. What about things like programming? Most of the schools we deal with, we don't teach them programming at all. And by the time they leave 10th grade, they're out there competing with people who already have these skills. Things like subject integration, can computers be used as tools to integrate subjects to supplement our the existing learning? Can we use them as tools to build logical reasoning, things like algorithms, decomposition, and other such skills? Okay, so the first starting point was finding the right tools to teach my kids computing, and we happened to come across this amazing device called the Raspberry Pi, which was developed by the Raspberry Pi Foundation at the Cambridge University. These are basically small computers that cost $30 to $40, 3,000 rupees, and offer tremendous possibilities in terms of learning computing, like real computing. And also tools like Python, which is basically an open source language. So why we chose these tools is because they're open source, so there's no monopoly in terms of products, and educators from all over the world collaborate in these things. So there's so much we could have used these devices for. So basically our mission is to provide access to affordable and open source technology, and also use the same technology to build essential skills like programming, problem solving, and design thinking. So we basically conduct workshops, and over the course of these workshops we introduce kids to what a computer is. We demystify the whole idea of what a computer is. It necessarily doesn't need to be a box that we usually see. Computers are everywhere, and how do you interact with a computer? Can you talk to a computer? Can you use a computer to interact with other devices? Something we also focus on is algorithms. When you teach programming, you also need to learn about things like syntax. So we said let the focus be more on the algorithm, because that translates into other languages and processes as well. So we focus on algorithms and how kids can use sensors to collect different sorts of information, and finally being able to use these tools to actually problem solve or create something of their own. So these are some of the pictures from the workshops we've done in some of the schools. To make sure what we do is sustainable in the long run, we're also trying to set up affordable computer labs across schools, where the emphasis is a lot more on creative computing. And also generally when you talk about a lab, you don't measure student growth or impact in a lab space. So we intend to do that. We intend to measure the growth of students throughout a year in a lab. So for our curriculum, we're currently working with professors from some institutes like IISER, IITM and IIT Bombay. We're trying to create a grade-specific curriculum from grade 5 to 10, so that it's applicable in a classroom context as well. So this is another project that we have recently come up with. The whole idea is to basically get kids to build weather stations in the schools. Right? So at the end of the workshops, kids can use the tools and the skills we've taught them to build a weather station. Now what that will do is, kids get access to data like temperature, humidity, pressure, wind speed, and all of these parameters. Now the data would actually be uploaded on a government server. So IITM, the Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology, they basically manage the data. So Sanjay used to work with the IMD, so he talked a little bit more about that in the workshop, in the weather stations.
So the plan is to have a weather station in as many schools as possible. So the dilemma of IITM is that they're not being able to get enough data from the weather stations that they have, because it's so located so at like different places which are nearly 25 kilometers away or 15 kilometers away. So for accurate data, they need weather stations at very close areas. I mean, we do not have difference of more than 5 kilometers or 4 kilometers. So for that reason, through this project, we might be helping them, and we might also be helping the kids to learn about weather, how it affects their life, how to predict rainfall maybe, or if it's raining in Carthage right now and there's high pressure there, and if there's low pressure in maybe Badgaon Sheri, the rain will move from there to here, so they might be able to predict that. So this is
also about how this could provide tremendous possibilities when you talk about teaching geography, and kids get access to real-time data. There's so much geography you can actually teach them.
Yeah, and just to add to this, I mean, the idea of a kid actually making something which is actually at the school and seeing it every day and realizing that's actually being used by scientists. I mean, I think that's a really powerful idea. Like, we didn't have anything like this when we were in school, so that's something we're thinking of starting by January, because we're still in talks with the IITM to finalize the whole process as to how it will actually go.
So basically, to measure our impact, we use certain parameters. We measure problem solving, programming ability, knowledge and understanding, and also if kids are interested in careers related to tech. Something we've been surprised with is when we measure problem solving, it had nothing to do with the grade level of the kid. Every workshop we've done with, there have been kids who actually figured really good on problem solving parameters, even though they're being, let's say, lower grade kids. So that's been really surprising, which makes us think about how we really assess our kids. Yeah. So we've done 7 workshops till now, and we've set up a pilot lab. And we hope to do more and more workshops by the end of the year. So at the community center, we operate from kids keep building stuff all the time. So these are some of the projects that the kids have made. Shankar, one of our 10th graders, he actually made a blind stick for the visually impaired. It's actually a pretty functional stick. It has a distance sensor that raises an alarm if an object is at a certain distance from the stick, and also a moisture sensor that detects whether there is moisture in the proximity. So this, they completely did this on their own, right from the algorithm bit and everything. The other project they're working on is we're trying to automate the community center. So this device you see here, it's actually pretty cool. There's a light here. It's called an RGB light, and there's a sound sensor here. So if the sound level increases beyond a certain level, the LED turns from green to red. And they've also put up a temperature and humidity sensor. With the touch of a button, you get to know the current time, the temperature and humidity. There's also a moisture sensor in a washroom. So in case the level of water crosses the bucket top level, there'll be a buzzer and an alarm will start. Yeah, so what we plan to do is take this further into vernacular schools as well. We have a workshop coming up in Murshi in a Marathi medium school. We have no idea how to do it. We'll figure that out. And also probably have a maker's guide in Hindi. We used to have these really cool experiment books, 101 science experiments and stuff like that. I really found them very inspirational. I think it's moved from simple experiments to computers and IoT and stuff like that. And we're hoping to actually put out the Maker's Guide in Hindi. Start working on that in February. That's what you want to add.
So I'll just add to the programming bit. So when we're thinking about how to teach kids programming, we actually realized that even in private schools, the current practices are more about syntax and like making programs or making apps and stuff, right? So then we stumbled upon this thing called physical computing, which is basically you do programming, but the result of that is actually something physical, like a light lights up or you control a motor. So this is something we tried in our first workshop, and we actually realized kids really caught on really quickly with this kind of methodology. So this is something that's started in the US and the UK, and now private schools have started to catch up, but in India I don't think there's any organization that's doing this as of now. So this is something that we're trying to focus on. If we're trying to teach them programming, it should be more physical and something tangible which they can actually see or touch. I think it's a much better response than only seeing it in a black screen and no lines of code coming out, right? So this is something we're focusing on in the programming bit. You want to add something? Oh yeah, so sorry, we're outsiders. So I'm Jaskar, and I used to volunteer with Akanksha for like 6 months. That's where I met Shoaib in the Kasturba Gandhi school, and that's where we sort of started this idea. So previously I was working as a software engineer at HCL Technologies Delhi, and then I joined Akanksha. So that's my background.
So I joined Akanksha at the same time as and yeah, same things.
So he's a weather guy basically.
Yeah, so he used to work with the IMD, so he knows a lot about weather. So he's the guy if you need to know what's happening next.